Long ago, the currents of the Serpentine River were ruled by one beast, and one beast alone.
The storyteller's voice called out, echoing off the river's surface. We all sat around a fire, most of the children huddled together. A few of the adults, such as myself, sat sparingly and mostly alone. Others stood nearby as they worked idly, listening in secret. Listening to the man speak, I thought perhaps I was much too old for these sort of events by then. But nothing could keep me drawn in like the tale of the Baron.
No man could bring this tyrant down. No warrior, no mage, no elementalist. The Baron was relentless in his rule, and he made it known all across Runeterra.
Children gathered around the fire leaned in, eagerly awaiting a hero's tale that would never come to be.
He was long and snake-like, with 3 heads, and the most evil collection of eyes you'd ever seen. His teeth, and I mean all 3 sets of them, were sharper than the blade of the Shuriman Emperor himself. Thousands lined up to kill him, and every single one of them.
The old storyteller paused, looking between each set of glowing eyes.
They were all ripped to shreds by the Baron Nashor.
He tossed a handful of sawdust into the fire, causing sparks to fly up and the children to squeal and lean back. I was unfazed, aside from the strange pang in my chest that started up every time I heard this part of the tale.
My grandfather once saw him. Once. And only once.
The storyteller lied. I wanted to roll my eyes, but that same familiar feeling from before made me feel obligated to listen.
He told me he'd never ran faster in his whole life. He had to leave as soon as he got there, for fear the Baron would eat his whole family alive.
But whatever happened to the Baron? Did a hero come to save the day?
A small child spoke up, his eyes glistening with a concoction of hope and fear.
No.
The storyteller smiled at the child in response.
That Baron Nashor, he disappeared, and apparently, no one's seen him since. Some say that he'll reappear someday, so you'd better watch out, and make sure you're good to your parents. Else, he might eat you too.
More sawdust, more dramatized reactions. I chuckled and made my way back to my tent, but the wad in my chest did not leave me, even as I lay down on my cot. When my eyes closed, the feeling in my chest blossomed into that of a bursting pain. In my dream, which felt all too real, I narrowly dodged an attack from the acid that spewed from none other than one of the Baron Nashor's 3 heads. The dodge was lucky enough to save most of my body from the flesh-searing liquid, but my arm was not as lucky. I cried out as leather armor melted into skin, the pain coursing through my veins. Adrenaline picked me up and allowed me to roll away from another shot of acid, but the relief was short-lived. Tremors began around me, the water of the river trembling as if it too was afraid of the Baron. Then, a cluster of tendrils erupted from the river and gripped me tight enough to suffocate me in mere moments. I felt the life drain away from my body as I was brought closer to a pair of the Baron's wide-open jaws, his inhuman screech ringing in my ears. I woke with a start to find that it was my own screaming ringing out. Tonight, it was not the Baron's war cry, but my own terror echoing off the banks of the Serpentine River. I left the river folk years ago. I left just like the other man they told tales of did. Tobias, I think. But I made sure not to get myself banished. Upon leaving, I was shaken by the question of where to go, as I stared into the tangles of the vast Ishtali jungle just south of the river. No one had ventured there in the past millennia, and I didn't intend to be the first. So I trekked north for miles, away from the Serpentine River that had haunted me throughout my days and nights. It took longer than I thought it would, but I eventually made it to Piltover, City of Progress. It was close, and I figured if I were to find my direction anywhere, it would be here. My clothing and demeanor got me strange stares as I wandered through the streets of the lavish city-state, but I refused to let that deter me. In just a few months, I had completed enough odd jobs and accustomed myself to the city enough to actually give myself options. Just a few more jobs to pursue elsewhere, that is. Nothing too incredulous, but at least something to give me a taste of something new. The only thing left to do then was choose.